Welcome to 7th grade U.S. history. American history isn't just a list of names and dates to memorize. It's actually a giant, incredibly complex detective story. Today, we're cracking open the case file on the St. Paul Middle School curriculum framework. We're going to unpack the whole fascinating story of how the United States came to be, how it struggled, and how it's still evolving today. So get ready, because we're breaking down exactly what you'll be learning, how you're going to learn it, and why it absolutely 100% matters right now. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We're kicking things off with a quick welcome and a look at the course framework. Then we'll zoom right into Unit 1 on colonization, fast forward a bit to Unit 3 on American identity, and wrap the whole thing up with a quick check on your understanding. Let's get into it. Part 1. Welcome to U.S. history. Let's set the stage for everything you'll be discovering this year. 11 units, centuries of history. 1. American journey. Seriously, over this next school year, you're covering an astonishing amount of ground. We're talking everything from prehistoric North America all the way up to the challenges of a brand new century. You're going to explore the massive triumphs and the heartbreaking tragedies that built the exact world you're living in today. It's one massive, interconnected journey, and the sheer scope of what you're about to uncover is just, well, it's truly grand. Moving on to Part 2, the course framework. Before we zoom into the nitty-gritty details, we really need a high-level view of how this whole timeline is built. So here's your pacing guide for the year. It's basically a massive timeline. We kick things off with a solid 3 weeks looking at the colonization of Native America. Then we plunge into a huge 15-week block covering everything from the Revolution right through the chaos of civil conflict and into Reconstruction. From there, you'll spend 10 weeks watching America step onto the global stage, from global imperialism all the way through the devastation of World War II. And finally, those last 10 weeks, you'll be navigating the Cold War and the wild complexities of modern globalization. It's a carefully structured flow designed to keep us constantly moving forward through time. Part 3, Unit 1, Colonization. All right, time to zoom in on your very first unit of the course. So what does this all mean? Well, here is your essential question. How did colonization create both new opportunities and deep conflicts? You see, history is rarely just a simple story of heroes and villains. It's incredibly complicated. You're going to explore how early American settlement brought tremendous new opportunities and, frankly, massive wealth for some folks, while simultaneously sparking devastating deep conflicts for others, particularly the Native American populations who were already here. Now, by the end of this 3-week unit, there are a few specific things you're actually expected to achieve. You're going to explain how these colonies develop, analyze the very real tension between historical myth and actual history, and connect the dots between early colonial systems and slavery. Actually, a super common misconception is that the early colonies were just these isolated, independent little towns. In reality, no way. They were part of a massive, heavily interconnected global system, and you'll be using evidence directly from primary historical accounts to prove exactly that. Okay, a really crucial piece of key vocabulary you need to know for this era is transatlantic slavery. This wasn't just some historical side note. It was a massive, brutal system deeply woven right into the economic and social structures of early colonial development. Understanding how this system operated is absolutely vital for answering our essential question about how colonization created profound, lasting conflicts that would end up shaping the nation for centuries to come. One of your biggest jobs this year is separating fact from fiction. It's like a giant puzzle. Historical mythology loves to give us these simple, rosy stories about colonists motivated purely by religious piety. But since we're acting as historical detectives, let's do a quick worked-evidence discussion. If one perspective claims settlers only wanted religious freedom, we need to look at the primary evidence, things like early shipping logs or actual land deeds. And when we do, they usually reveal a totally different perspective, that economic survival and land expansion were just as critical, if not more so. You aren't just reading history here. You're literally interrogating it. Part 4, Unit 3, American Identity. Let's fast forward a bit to your 4-week deep dive into how this brand new nation figured out who it actually was. Now, what's really interesting about this next essential question is the total paradox it presents. How did the United States define itself while expanding and dividing? Think about that for a second. This young nation was growing at warp speed, adding massive amounts of land and millions of people. But at the exact same time, it was actively fracturing internally. Your main goal in this unit is to figure out exactly how America managed to form its identity right in the middle of all that chaotic growth and division. To solve that particular puzzle, you've got four main goals. You're going to compare the intense rivalries of the early political parties. You'll explain the totally opposing forces of nationalism and sectionalism. You'll analyze these massive reform movements that were trying to fix society. And you're going to evaluate the really powerful concept of manifest destiny. Every single one of these things completely shaped both the cultural and the physical map of the country. You can kind of think of this next dynamic as a massive historical tug of war. Nationalism is the force pulling everyone together, trying to create one unified identity, kind of like everyone rooting for the exact same national sports team. Sectionalism, on the other hand, well, that's the force driving people apart. That's when people started caring way more about their specific region, like the North or the South, than the country as a whole. It's almost like high school clique rivalries, but on a national scale. As you'll see, these two forces absolutely battled for the soul of the United States. We're also going to dive into the political side of this whole identity crisis. Specifically, the Federalists versus the Republicans, our very first political parties. And fun fact, political rivalries back then, they were just as dramatic, if not way more dramatic than they are today. We'll neutrally compare their competing visions. The Federalists really wanted a strong national government, while the Republicans strongly favored local control. Analyzing these original foundational debates is absolutely crucial if we want to understand our own political DNA today. And then we have manifest destiny. This was that incredibly powerful 19th century belief that America was just destined to expand its territory all the way across the continent. While this idea spread like wildfire and fueled massive growth, shaping a really bold national identity, it perfectly captures our essential question: why? Because that exact same expansion fueled intense social and political division, and it led to the tragic dispossession of Native American lands. It's expanding and dividing, all happening at the exact same time. Part 5. Checking your understanding. Okay, we have talked a lot about what you'll learn, but how do we actually prove you've learned it? Let's do a quick student check. All throughout the year, you're going to participate in these historical evidence discussions. So here is your simple 3-step playbook for success. Step 1, always ground your focus right back in the essential question. Step 2, no guessing allowed. You have to find actual historical accounts to use as evidence. And step 3, compare different perspectives objectively. Because when we discuss history, the goal isn't just to shout out an opinion. It's to cite specific source details, use really strong reasoning, and apply historical context to actually support your claims. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a seminar prompt, a really provocative thought to chew on. If our early history is defined by how we expanded and divided, what historical evidence will define the American identity of our new century? History isn't just some dusty thing stuck in the past. It is literally the ultimate tool for understanding our present. So keep asking those big questions, keep hunting for that evidence, and have an absolutely fantastic time exploring U.S. history this year.